of the Kurdish people after that until the West enforced a no-fly zone over northern Iraq. That has been resolved, and over the last 3 or 4 years particularly, you've seen an enormous amount of economic growth, 7-8% GDP growth rate a year, very good youth unemployment, education figures are wonderful, particularly for women and girls, and probably the best indicator is you've got a lot of Kurdish refugees in the United States, United Kingdom, Australia and other parts of the world returning home here to Kurdistan to build. I mean, you just need to see the amount of traffic on the streets, the cranes in the sky and the building that is going on to know that Kurdistan is not like the rest of Iraq. You go into central Kurdistan, into central Erbil, and you see beautiful fountains, people sitting in, drinking coffee in the sun underneath the shadow of the castle in the centre of Erbil. It really is a very well functioning part of Iraq, a region of it, true. But it's not like Baghdad. You still see the violence there. Yes, you do. And this for me highlights the balance and the dilemma that we still have when talking about Iraq. And if you have a look at where the violence is happening in Iraq, there's a fairly consistent red on the maps across central Iraq. North and south seem to be comparatively well off. But if you're going to support the intervention, you've got to go to a mother who's just lost her son in a bomb blast in Baghdad and look her in the eye and say, I feel for you, your son has died, or daughter, and it was worth it because we got rid of Saddam Hussein. Looking at her in the eye and convincing her that would be a very hard task. But equally so, if you say that you do not support the intervention in Iraq, you are by definition saying you support keeping Saddam Hussein in power. And if Saddam Hussein had stayed in power, these people here in Erbil would still have been repressed. So if you were a supporter of the intervention and you need to look a mother in the eye in Baghdad and say why her child died in a car bomb, if you were in opposition to the intervention, you need to go to one of the mothers here in Erbil, in the park, and say, look her in the eye and say, see your children there that are playing happily. We would have preferred they didn't exist. We would have preferred that you were still being raped, murdered and tortured. We would have preferred that you didn't have the opportunity to meet your husband and start your family. We would have preferred that you didn't have a functioning business. We would have preferred that you didn't have this very peaceful lifestyle in this beautiful open green park, and we would have preferred it to have been the home of the Iraqi Fifth Corps. There is no